Alabama loses out on Caleb Holt, star recruit in the state of Alabama. He's a five-star recruit. He has chosen Arizona over Alabama, but Alabama has signed three other marquee recruits. This is a recruiting update on where Alabama stands in basketball for the 2026 class. Welcome to another episode of the Bamature Hour podcast. I'm Bama John. Today is Thursday, March 12th, 2026 in the year of our Lord. Thank you for tuning in. We have over 8,900 subscribers to the YouTube channel, growing, headed to 10,000 and beyond. We're going to go through what's happening with the current landscape of the recruiting, given that Caleb Holt just made his announcement. Even though he's from the state of Alabama, he's choosing Arizona. But Alabama has three quality wings, guards, small forwards signed up for the 2026 recruiting class. So not really too worried about losing out on Caleb Holt. Let's go through who Alabama's signed. So here we go with our recruiting update. Here's where we are now. Alabama has three commitments, one five-star, two four-star commitments for this top 10 class. As Alabama's rated, their current recruiting class is rated in the top 10. They just recently signed Jason Richardson, who is the son of NBA star Jason Richardson. He is a 6'6" wing, four-star rated recruit, really athletic, hyper-athletic slasher, can get to the rim, finish strong, score well in the mid-range. His three-point shooting is not to the level that Nate Oats typically wants out of his guard, so he'll need to work on that. But high-quality commitment recruit. He will be a fantastic scorer, finisher, two-way player. So excited to get Jason Richardson's. They've also gotten committed Qayden Samuels, who is a five-star, 6'5" guard. He can play wing. He can play shooting guard. He can play point guard. So again, they've got another guard wing, which Nate Oats is known for recruiting and bringing in and developing. And then the third commitment is Tarris Bouie, who's a four-star, 6'6" wing, really athletic, really strong. So that's where the three commitments stand right now for this Alabama recruiting class for the 2026 class. So let's talk about Jaxon Richardson. He is super explosive. He's considered the most explosive athlete in the 2026 recruiting class, has a 6'11" wingspan. He can guard multiple positions. He is going to be a two-way player that can get up and down the court, can slash, finish at the rim, dunk, get steals, block shots. He's really going to be fun to watch. He will need to develop his shooting and his three-point shot if he's going to thrive in the Nate Oats offense. But I think he's just too good all the way around not to get a lot of playing time, and he should be great to have on both ends of the court. Here's a picture of Jaxon Richardson dunking. You can see the athleticism, the hops, as he is a fantastic athlete. And that's what he really is. He's an athletic wing, can play shooting guard, can play small forward, and will give Nate and fit into that up and down fast tempo style that Nate Oats has. Qayden Samuels, 6'5", left-handed guard. He can score from all three levels. He is great in the pick and roll, shoots 40% from three. He is slated to be a McDonald's All-American this year, and is a great five-star ad for Nate Oats and really does fit the Nate Oats style. So great job securing him. He'll fit right in with Phylon leaving, with Reitzel graduating. He'll slide right into that type of role that we rely on LeBaron Phylon to fill right now, and that Reitzel fills coming off the bench. Very athletic, can get up and down. So another high-quality, athletic 6'5" wing, five-star that Nate Oats has brought in. There's a picture of him. You can see that left hand. He has a high release, shoots the ball really, really well, tough to defend. He'll be a get-a-bucket guy, so glad to have him coming in. The third guy is Tarris Bouie, 6'6", long, wiry guy. He's slender. A lot of people call him a late bloomer, but very athletic. A lot of people think he is in the Brandon Miller mode, but he's not 6'8", 6'9" like Brandon Miller. But again, going to be a high quality wing. I think Amari Allen's probably a good comparison for where he stands and what he's like as compared to Tarris Bouie, but he's probably a better shooter and a little bit more length. But anyway, great to have him. So in terms of wings and guards, and there's Tarris Bouie. You can see a picture of him there. In terms of guards, wings, those type of players, Nate Oats always seems to find them, have them, and bring them in. So we're in good shape there with the roster. It's really the big man getting bigs and having a quality front court players at power forward and center where we're really lacking. And that's going to be the tough ask, either through recruiting freshmen or getting guys out of the portal to shore up our front court, which has been our weakness this year. And when we've been beaten by teams and overpowered, it's been teams like Tennessee, Michigan, Florida, Arizona, Gonzaga that have these 7-foot guys, 7'2", 6'11" guys that are strong, big, large, athletic guys that can score in the post and that really beat up on Alabama. And really, Aiden Sherrill's the only guy on our team that's able to go toe-to-toe with those guys in there. And just having him without any other bigs has just not been enough. So here's the key remaining recruiting targets that Alabama has on their board. And then there's a couple of big men that we're going to talk about as well. Player number one is Brandon McCoy. He's the number one rated point guard in the nation. Assuming Aiden Holloway comes back, we're fine at point guard. But if we can add this 6'4" athletic point guard, who's the number one point guard and the number one player in the nation, to Alabama, that would be a huge get. Arkansas is recruiting him, Miami, Michigan. Certainly, he sounds like the kind of guy that Calipari will go out and play and add, so it wouldn't be surprised if he ends up playing for Calipari, but he would be a great add as a point guard. But again, we have plenty of guards, plenty of guys that can play the position. So if we don't get him, it's not going to be the end of the world. But it would be great to have a top-notch point guard leading the charge for Alabama. But assuming Aiden Holloway comes back, take him or leave him. The next guy is Tyran Stokes, who is a dominant wing, and he's the number 2 overall prospect in the nation. Alabama's still in the hunt for him. 6'7" forward, big athletic wing. But again, assuming we keep guys and bring guys back and sign these 3 guys we have, we don't have to have him. We got plenty of guys that can play wing, small forward. It'd be nice to have, but not a must-have. Now, Christian Collins is a 6'8" power forward. He's a big presence. He would add size and rim protection, although he's not 6'10", 6'11". That's where we're weak. We need power forwards. We need centers. We need to add a guy like this. He would be a good get for Nate Oats. So let's hope we can get him. And then the 4th guy on the radar is Quentin Coleman, shooting guard, sharp shooting guard from St. Louis. He is uncommitted, and he's on Alabama's recruiting board. But again, don't need more shooting guards. We got plenty of those guys on the roster. I have plenty of guys coming in the door, so not into the world if we don't get them. So where are we on the big man? And I call this the big man problem for Nate Oats. And let's talk about the big man, the history of big men with Nate Oats. So when he got here in his first year in 2019, 2020, we really lacked in quality big men. John Petty and Herb Jones. And I mean, John Petty, I hadn't thought about that guy in a long time. Those guys were our leading rebounders in Nate Oats' first season, with Petty getting 6.6 and Herb Jones getting 6.4 rebounds per game. Alex Reese was our leading shot blocker with 1 shot block per game. That was the COVID-ended season. Nate Oats' first year, had a winning season, probably would have ended up in the NIT, but the season got shut down. That's where he ended off. But again, we had problems with front court and quality front court in the second year. And this is when we got to the Sweet 16, and the team really elevated with Herb Jones. Herb Jones was the leading rebounder with 6.6 rebounds per game. He was also the leading shot blocker with 1.1. Herb Jones was SEC, all SEC, had a great season. He's in the NBA, but we had a big man problem. We really didn't have any quality big men on that team that helped elevate the front court, that could rebound, shot block, and could score in the low post. So nothing there. Then in the 2022 season, Keon Ellis was the leading leading rebounder for the team. Again, only averaging 6 rebounds a game. Charles Bediako was the leading shot blocker. Remember that name, as he blocked 1.5 shots per game. But amazing that Charles Bediako was not our leading rebounder. Shows you the front court development, the front court issues, just kind of where we stand in the Nate Oats era with front courts. In the 2022-2023 season, this was Nate Oats' best team, his most loaded roster. The team ended up winning the SEC regular season. They won the SEC tournament. They were the number 1 ranked team in the country. They were the number 1 overall seed for the NCAA tournament, but they fell short, only making it to the Sweet 16. But look at the rebounding stats for this team. Brandon Miller averaged 8.2 rebounds per game. Noah Clowney averaged 7.9 rebounds per game. Those were 3-and-D, small forward, power forward, interchangeable guys that really approach what Nate Oats would like. But again, Charles Bediako was the center, and he didn't even average 8 rebounds a game. Those guys were out rebounding Bediako. He was a good rim protector, averaging 1.8 shot blocks per game. But again, our front court was not as dominant as we wanted, and we also didn't work hard to get the ball into the post and have anyone finish at the rim using a variety of post shots. But this was Nate Oats' best team. But we had a disappointing end of the season, losing the Sweet 16 to San Diego State as Alabama shot poorly. San Diego State had a lockdown defense. We didn't respond well, and we didn't have an ability to get the ball inside and dump it in and get San Diego State in foul trouble when they were defending the 3, locking us up. We didn't have an answer for that in that grinded out half court game, as we shot poorly, lost the game, and it was a really disappointing end to that season. There's more that was going on at the season. Brandon Miller was hurt towards the end of the season. There was a whole issue with the gun incident and a murder that happened in Tuscaloosa, and some Alabama players were involved, and it just kind of derailed the season. But that was Nate Oats' best team, probably had his best front court that he's had at Alabama, but they underachieved. The next year, this was the 2023-2024 season, we added Grant Nelson. He really helped. Grant Nelson was the leading rebounder, but he only averaged 5.9 rebounds per game. He's our leading shot blocker at 1.6 blocks per game. And this team made that run to the Final Four. They upset the number 1 seeded North Carolina team. Then, due to the way things fell, got to play Clemson in the Elite 8. Beat them, and then they ran into that loaded UConn team that was the defending national championship, and UConn had a loaded front court, lots of bigs, and Alabama just could not compete with that team. They were 10 deep, had a bunch of NBA players, had a 7'2" in Klingon at the rim, who we couldn't contend with. They had guys off the bench, and we were just overwhelmed by the size and strength and versatility of that roster. And it was really where our front court could not hold up against UConn. And had we somehow beaten UConn, then we would have faced a loaded Purdue team as well, with a big, huge 7'5" center in Purdue's big man as well. And we just were not up to snuff to win a national championship. And it was really, again, due to lack of quality front court bigs. Grant Nelson was really good, but he was not a dump it into the post, finish at the rim with a hook shot, with a fadeaway. Really good player. Loved having Grant Nelson on the team. But again, in terms of having quality bigs and quality depth, we were lacking on that team, even though they made the Final Four, and that's why they were not able to win a national championship, is the front court was just not up to the task. Then Last year in the 2024-25 season, leading rebounder again was Grant Nelson with 7.6 rebounds per game. And then Cliff Amari, the 6'11" center that we added, averaged 6.5 rebounds a game. Those guys led us in the front court. And then in terms of shot blocking, Grant Nelson led us in shot and blocks with 1.2 per game. But again, neither of those guys is a high quality NBA player. Cliff Amari had no offensive game at all. And for a guy as big as he was, to only get 6.5 rebounds a game, that's underwhelming. So again, Alabama runs into Duke in the Elite Eight. Duke with Cooper Flagg, with all the bigs they had, with Ngangba, and with the various other bigs they had on that team, we just could not handle the size and athleticism that Duke brought in the front court, and they beat us by 12 in that Elite Eight game. And we had it down to 8, but again, Duke was just bigger, stronger, more athletic than we were, and we weren't prepared to deal with them. And also during that season, Florida exposed us as they blitzed the Alabama team as well, and really exposed us for not being up to snuff and able to handle just the size and athleticism of Florida's front court, as well as we were really exposed by those two teams. And then in 2026, Amari Allen, 6'8", wing power forward. Amari Allen, really great player, but he is not who you need to rely on in the front court to be your big man. He's leading us in rebounds at 7 rebounds a game. And then Aiden Sherrill at 6'11" is averaging 6 rebounds a game. And then Sherrill's averaging 2.3 blocks per game. So Sherrill's doing a great job in the post of being a rim protector, rebounding, but Sherrill doesn't have any help in the post. He's really a one-man band. Mariano's doing a great job as well as he can, given just how slight he is, but very athletic, very physical, gets after it. But again, we've been exposed this year with the big men, and this is why Nate Oats has got to up his ability to bring in big men, to develop them, to retain them, and to get them at a high level. And that's why Alabama is not on track to win a national championship this year, why Alabama has failed to win a national championship in Nate Oats' era. And he's done a great job. We seem to be a perennial Sweet 16 team. He's now gotten to 3 Elite Eights, or rather 2 Elite Eights. And 1 Final Four, and just doing a great job at Alabama. But the weakness is the big man, his ability to recruit them, his ability to develop them on both ends of the court, and his ability to retain them and keep them on the roster and not have them transfer out and go elsewhere. So here are the big men targets for the class of 2026. First one's Marcus Ponder, 6'11", true center out of Florida. He has an Alabama offer. He's a massive physical presence, offers rim protection. We got to get a big man. We've got to get someone like that. He's a key add if Alabama wants to elevate. Christian Collins, who we already mentioned, can come in and play power forward, but he really is not going to be a true rim protector. He's just not big enough. Tyron Stokes also, they think, can come in and play power forward. He's a little undersized at 6'7", but he is 245, and he would do it as well. But again, just like Amari Allen, when we go up against teams that have 2 and 3 7-footers that can play on both ends of the courts, that can bang, rebound, rim protect, and have good post moves and can finish at the rim, we get overwhelmed like Florida does, like Michigan does, like Gonzaga does, like Arizona does. We get overwhelmed. So we've got to get bigger, stronger, and more athletic in the post. And I'm just not sure 6'7", 6'8" guys are the answer. The last guy who can help elevate and shore up the front court is Latrell Almond. He's 6'8", 205-pound, 4-star big man out of North Carolina, known for a high motor and rebounding, but just not a huge physical presence. So Alabama's got to figure it out. And if Alabama can't secure one or two big men in their freshman class, they're going to have to add guys in the portal. If we're going to shore up our big man, the front court, we got to find players to add. So, and here's the concerns for next season as well. Can Alabama keep Aiden Sherrill? We're going to pay up and keep him. Can we retain Qayden Bristow? And is he going to be effective in the front court as a 1-2 punch with Aiden Sherrill? He had a few good games this year, and then he's got hurt, and he hadn't played the rest of the season. So we really don't know what the upside is from him, and are we going to be able to pay and retain him? And then what about Taylor Ball Bowen? He's long, he's athletic, but he's slight, he's injury prone, and you can't rely on him to be a rebounder and to be a rim protector because he's going to get in foul trouble. He's going to get overwhelmed. He's going to get out physical. And then there's the question about Collins Onidiaka and what's going on with his health condition. He's a big, strong guy. But again, are we going to be able to retain him? Is he going to be able to add to things for next year? Because he's certainly not going to add this year. And then for all of these players, how much better are they going to get? How much is Nate Oats going to be able to develop big men? Because that is a concern, is his ability to develop big men, help them develop a post game, post moves, and to be able to score in the low post. Like a lot of these teams like Florida and Michigan have guys that when the ball goes in, they're going to finish around the rim, at the rim, with various post moves. And our players just haven't shown to have that. And we haven't seen Nate Oats take a raw post player and have them develop and really rise up. When we got Grant Nelson, he had the skills already, and we just plugged him in, but he didn't develop a better post game while he was here. He already had those skills when he showed up, and we made good use of them, but I didn't see him elevate with any kind of hook shots, any baby hooks, any type turnaround post moves for him to be able to get the ball in the post and then be a sure finish, given his size and length and skill. And what he did had, he was already as developed as he was going to be at Alabama when he showed up as a portal transfer. So here's the deal. Alabama's got to upgrade the front court if they want to win a national championship. Nate Oats is great with guards, wings, small forwards. The front court has been the Achilles heel for Alabama during the Nate Oats era. His ability to recruit, develop, and retain big men is a question. Does he value them? Does he know how to coach them? Does he know how to teach them how to score in the low post? I haven't seen that from him. I haven't seen his ability to do that, to value post play, to value feeding the post. He loves to score at the rim. Well, a great way to score at the rim is one in and 4 out, feed the ball into the post and let him finish, and let him get the old-fashioned three-point play or just finish at the rim. And we haven't seen that. He likes the 5 out, or he likes guys shooting threes, or he likes his wings driving to the basket and shooting. And in a pick and roll with an alley-oop, that's great when you got a rim runner, rim protector, but I haven't seen him show that he can really work with quality big men, and that big men would even want to come to Alabama because they know they can get better and make it to the NBA. And so that is a big hole in the Nate Oats coaching resume. And the Nate Oats aura is his ability to use big men on the offensive end, to develop them and to turn them into NBA players, versus wings, guards, small forwards. Even 3-and-D power forwards can feel real confident in what Nate Oats is doing. And that's been his Achilles heel, is big men. And that's what's kept him from winning a national championship. And this year, that's the hole in this team, is lack of quality front court play, particularly on the offensive end, and also on the defensive end, just to rim protect and rebound. We don't have enough guys. So that's going to be the undoing probably in the NCAA tournament. That's where they're going to run into problems, is just the whole issue with the big men on both ends of the court, but particularly to be able to get offensive rebounds, finish at the rim, score when the ball goes into the post, and have a variety of moves. It's going to be tough. So let's talk about Nate Oats. He's the most successful coach in Alabama history. He's great with guards, wings, full forwards. He wins at a high level. He makes the tournament every year. It gets us to Elite Eights and Final Fours. But I don't think he can win a national championship with this guard-heavy wing heavy roster that runs a fast paced tempo, guard oriented, wing oriented tempo. Nate Oats wants his players to shoot threes and scores at the rim, but he doesn't recruit and value bigs that can post up and score at the rim. And he doesn't run offensive sets to feed the post and have them finish at the rim. And he doesn't elevate the bigs post play when they're at Alabama. Under Oats, the post players he's gotten have not shown any kind of offensive growth and development, and that is an Achilles heel. So let's look at the 2026-27 roster. Alabama team should have plenty of guards, wings, small forwards. That will not be a problem. We should be, like we are this year, a similar team with a team that will be able to shoot threes, be able to run a high octane, up pace offense, can score 90 points. But are we going to have rim protectors and rebounders? Are we going to have quality post players that in a half court set, we can dump the ball into the post and they can score, or they can kick it back out to open wing players? I'm not confident in that. We got to elevate. And then will Alabama have quality bigs that can play in the front court against teams like Florida, Michigan, and Arizona that have bigs on both ends of the court that can defensive rebound, block out, clog the lane, block shots, and on the offensive end can get offensive rebounds. And when they get those rebounds, can go back up with a variety of post moves and score, or can post up our bigs in the post. Can Bama get guys that can be fed in the post and finish at the rim like Nate Oats? And it's a real weakness. So we're going to see. All right, that's it for now. Alabama plays tomorrow in the quarters of the SEC tournament. They will play either Georgia or Ole Miss. I suspect that it will be Georgia that they'll play tomorrow, but either way, Alabama needs to win that game. They need to turn around, and assuming they play Arkansas, get a win there, get to the finals of the SEC tournament, secure a number 3 seed, and then let's see what kind of run Alabama can go on. I think their ceiling is going to be getting to the Elite 8. I think we're good enough that we should be able to get to the Sweet 16, but I think the problem with lack of bigs and lack of quality front court play is going to be our undoing, and this team's not good enough to get to a Final Four and not good enough to make it into and win a national championship. But we'll be watching, and then we'll come back with a recap on the game tomorrow night with the reaction to that. We'll come back with the reaction to the Saturday game, assuming that they win Friday night. And then we'll come back Sunday with a bracket show. We'll also react if Alabama's in the finals, probably playing Florida if they make the finals, and we'll do a recap of that as well. So that's it. Thank you for listening. God bless, and roll Tide.